offered us, said our stream was interrupted. Do we want to resume from where we left off? So we said yes. Oops, I think now we're the right way round. And we've got details on the screen so we can see we're live now. We did go into our channel and it said that we had somehow scheduled it for the 26th of February. So we scheduled it for the past. So how do we want to do this? Can we plug it in at the same time? We don't want to hold it with our arms. So you'll have to, we can edit this afterwards and you can put up with us. Can we rotate it and everything when we're on? We can flip it, but we can't rotate. So we're in horizontal mode, but that's cool. So we'll have it up for now. And we'll have it on this way round so you can see us. And it's a bit wonky, but that's okay. So this is a new little corner we're in. I'm going to do that and it's just going to fall wonky again. But that's okay. It's an impromptu live. So you've got a very wild, organic us. It's what time are we on? It's 10:55, so we've just passed the peak of the solar eclipse here in the UK, which was 10:48, and in 2 minutes it's the Aries new moon. It's at 9 degrees. It's 8 degrees 53, so rounded up to 9 degrees. And we decided we were going to do a card reading for ourselves. We haven't done card readings a lot lately, and then it's kind of like, let's do an impromptu. Let's do it on a live. So we wanted to be able to share our screen. We know you can share your screen on the computer. We won't be able to see your comments, by the way. And we have to learn this each time we do it. So even though we have posted videos up here before, we've not done it for a long time because that's not what we're doing at the moment. Oh, my wonders. Awesome. I think you can. Highlight saved to your, oh no, it's a highlight. I thought that was an option to share screen, but it isn't. So it doesn't look like we've got an option to share screen. But that's okay. Because we can get it up on here and perhaps show you, or we can read it off here. So we were just on our Discord community posting today's Mayan galactic calendar. So you more than likely haven't been following us, or if you have been following us, you know that we do these random little journeys and sections. We did a section on the Pisces, on the feet, energetically, and we use the World Wide Web as like a portal. And so today is the 9th solar moon, and we are down here on this one at the very bottom. So we're almost finished this week. The colours are the 4 directions. Red is east and initiates, white is north, refines, blue is west, transforms, excuse us, and yellow is south, ripens. And so we were just posting our posts because we our latest thing is we're accessing our, it's interesting, our throat chakra is just already starting to need clearing. And so this is why our littles wanted to go live. We log all the community posts we do on all 4 of our channels on here, because each of our channel, we don't use YouTube at all in the way most people use it, is a theme of energetics. So for instance, this channel is no time, which is all the time. And because of the paradox, it's no time is all of the time. It's like all and none of it. And so a description for that is if you've got a seesaw and you have your polar opposites, black and white, yes and no. This is in the linear tangible world. Right, wrong, left, right. Then the linear tangible world has the fourth direction. So you've got the four directions, north, south, east, west. You've got the inner direction and you've got the outer direction, but you've also got the direction of time. Time is a direction. It's fourth dimensional. And so when you bring this line into the spiritual world, which we don't really like, but into quantum energetics, into the dimension of no time, it turns into a circle. And so as you bring this into a circle, do we have anything at our fingertips, which we can, oh, we're so sorry, beautiful. You've got, look, our plant has a lovely leaf that needs to, that's dead, it needs to come off. We've got lots of these we need to do, so maybe this will help. So this line of right, wrong, left, right, good, bad, yes, no, black, white, and let's even do, say we're on the root chakra and the solar plexus chakra, so it's also yellow and red. And so when those two opposites that have been defined or set an intention to in the moment go from the opposite into the unseen dimensions of the circular, which is actually more accurately the spiral vortex, then, so if it's a spiral vortex, they would never actually touch. It would just keep spiraling round and spiraling round. And depending how much you wound it in, tightened it up or loosened it up, we know that in like Wicca or witchcraft, I'm pretty sure clockwise is tightening and anti-clockwise is loosening, and we can feel that in our own energetics. We don't do labels as such. One may feel they have to do labels to get an understanding first of all, and that was part of our journey, but we really don't like labels. And so sunshine and warmer weather after the solar eclipse. And so when those two come together, or almost come together, because they don't, as we just said, the polar opposites, the opposites become one and the same thing. Black and white become the same. They grey, neutrality, in different shades of, depending the tightness or the looseness. Yes and no become the same. Yellow and red become the same, which make orange. And we said that because of the root chakra and the solar plexus and the orange. And so you've got our other channels, which is Shintos, which is kind of like the past, the objective, the external collective agreement reality, Shintosai, which is like the present, and Joy to Coco, which is the future. And the future for us is accessed by going deep into the body. And so we just posted this, like we said, on our YouTube channel. Not on our YouTube channel, that's a complete lie, because we're in the present moment now and our words go all over the place. In our Discord community, because that's where we're logging it. And one of the creations, you know, where you got a picture and then you put a quote to it. We've been doing those pictures on AI, ChatGPT, and we then get a quote from ChatGPT as well. So sometimes they're from people, sometimes they're not. And we're going to read it out to you. We'll see if we can hold it up so you can kind of see what we're saying. So this is our Discord community. Here's the post. We log it all under the multi-dimensional experience, and so we kind of put them all up here, and then we put each channel into a different section. So I don't know if you can really get it up close enough without the light reflection. You've got entertainment with our Jaguar, movie recommendations, Moonology, and then the body. And on the second quote of our Shintosai channel, Eclipses symbolise thresholds, change and transformation, serving as a reminder that life is always evolving. So we added in the thresholds because that comes from one of our, I think it's Oracle decks. Oh yeah, it's from the Stellar, we use that book a lot, Stellar Visions Oracle deck. And underneath with our auto, one of us who does the communication and the typing, second food for thought quote from today's YouTube community's posting for our Galactic Mayan Tzolk'in calendar multidimensional experience journey, which we are using to finely tune into all of our body, into the deepest depths inside, which then take one out to the farthest reaches of the galaxy from the inside portals, as tapping into these finely tuned quantum energetics is discombobulating all residue traumas and blockages of all perspectives, cleaning and polishing our internal tubular systems, better known as meridians in China or nadis in India or sen lines in Thailand, etc. The channels our unseen energetics travel through, which makes up our physical, tangible body. Our final healing tool through fun of our subtle energetic body. And we noticed also, because we've been a bit all over the place again lately with different factors going on for whatever reason, we don't need to go into it all. And we noticed we'd made a mistake on our post for today on the calendar, saying that in this, which we know it's not at all, it's because we were in a different altar, and our communication can get a bit back to front sometimes, which we actually love the AI image created for our Shintosai channel today, because on our Shintosai channel today of the body, so today's star glyph, which is the red overtone serpent, this one here relates to the right big toe. And so we did a picture of the right foot. We asked for a picture of the right foot, a red one, because the right foot belongs to red and east and initiation. And it's the serpent, which is tone 5. So the tone 5 number relates to the animal serpent in the month. And this is the image that was created. And this is the sole of the foot. But it's got the right big toe with the toenails, but it's got the sole of the left foot. But if you didn't have these toenails on, and this was just the sole of the foot, it would be the sole of the right foot. So it's the sole of the right foot, but you're not really meant to have the toenails on. And so because you've got the toenails on, it makes it opposite, because on the sole of your foot you don't have your toenails. And so even now we're finding trouble to communicate. But why this is so fantastic is because in reflexology, your toes and your fingers relate to your communication. Our communication can go screw with back to front all over the place. We not so much now, as we become more co-conscious and we are on constant practicing to not just the men, but first be aware and awake in the moment to notice the mistake and then to amend it. And so a lot of the times on the journey of waking up, it's not the biggest thing of releasing denial, it's the biggest thing of staying awake in the moment when one is aware and present, but unable to change whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's words, communication, a behavior, a habit. And so that's the hard, especially if you don't like the habit or the person you're being or the behavior, but you're not able to change it yet because you haven't made those neurological connections or pathways. And so with the toes being upside down, back to front, twisted, it all, and relating to communication, it all made sense to us because that's what we're like as well. And so everything in the universe is the relationship between one thing and another. And the tuning forks that we have here from the sacred solfeggio frequencies are the Tesla frequencies of 369 hertz, 639 hertz, and 963 hertz. Oh no, that's a lie. I thought it was all the Tesla. It's two of the Tesla. We've got 639 hertz and 369 hertz, which is liberating guilt and fear and connecting and relating. And then we've actually got the 5 to 8 hertz, which is the miracles and transformations. And these two, because they're both connected to the heart, this can be the one that sometimes your paramedics use to heal broken DNA and stuff. We could read it in a minute. And then we've got the 3 planetary tuning forks of the sun and the moon, which again is your orange, your solar plexus, and your sacral, and your solar plexus is the yellow, the sun. And then we've got Venus, which we connect to our heart, but in the book for the frequencies that we've got, it's indigo, it's the 3rd eye. Because our Venus is at a 2° 5 minutes conjunction to the solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, new moon. And for us, though, the Venus does connect, it connects to your values, sense of worth. For us, it connects to the heart. And for us, it's about having heart valued aligned systems with each other, not aligned belief systems. So you can have completely differing belief systems, but because you're going on the same heart value systems of compassion and kindness, then there can be a connection. And we've just finished watching Shambhala as well, which was really good. Reminded us of our travels in India as well. And for us, we are untangling a lot of belief systems, which we personally believe are quite, they're judgmental ones. And we feel they're quite dark from the perception of dark and harmful. They come from, we come from a lineage of Southern Ireland and deep Catholic Church entanglement that involves sexual abuse in our lifetime, of incest, and from priests in the church. And so there's quite deep entanglement that have caused congestion and blockages. And we're freeing that, we're liberating that. And we were going to sit outside and embrace the solar eclipse. We looked out this morning, there were a few clouds, but it was mostly blue sky, and we were like so grateful. And then all the cloud cover came in, so we haven't been able to embrace it. But because of what we just read out to you about going out to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, but reaching outwards to the farthest reaches of the galaxy by going inside, because we have all the answers within if we go deep enough. It's about going into the central nervous system and even deeper. But to go into these depths, we have to be brave enough to do the shadow work, which most people aren't. And so they seek and look outwards to others and connection and learning and everything that's going on, rather than catalyzing that amazing innate ability that we have inside of us. But we have to sift through some really painful experiences. And through one of the belief systems, which our father said to our auntie, who we trust much more, she said that he believed that life is to suffer, and we may as well get used to that. And so that was a belief system that was input onto us from a very young age, of suffering and pain. And we've lived our life like that. And a lot of it has been the physical pain. And we don't want to live our life like that anymore. And we're becoming much more co-conscious, and our cognitive functioning is able to process much more now, which is a wonderful experience. And we're so grateful for, because it means that all this abstract, unconventional, controversial way that we've used YouTube and the World Wide Web as a portal to help us connect into the subtle energetic body, the unseen, non-tangible dimensions, utilizing our breath and all of our other knowledge, is actually working. And so that's why we're coming on here today, because we want to connect into the World Wide Web portal. We want to connect into more of this exchange of information from heart value based systems with Venus and your 639 hertz of connecting and relating, and 528 hertz. And so we're connecting deeper with ourselves by coming on here, but also for anyone else that wants to embrace these energies, which we are guessing it's going to be the very minority, because most people don't like diving in really deep, especially when they're not aware they're kind of doing it anyway. And our Venus that is conjunct with the solar eclipse, and even the sunrise and sunset and moonrise and moonset times are fully pretty aligned today as well, because we set our alarms for that. We've been doing that for years as well, and we drink our moon water. And Venus is in our house 8. House 8 is the home of Scorpio. Scorpio for us is in our house 4, and house 4 is the home of Cancer. And for us, Cancer is house 11, and that's Aquarius, which is our sun and moon at 17 degrees and 26 degrees, which both add up to 8, because 8's our master guide. So we've got a lot of entanglement of numerology, Shintosai numerology, astrology, but a Shintosai perspective of astrology. But it's kind of, so it's never a hard fast system. It's a little bit from here and a little bit from there, from what makes sense from us. It's always surface levels of other systems which we then put together to create a deeper mashup of all this stuff. We don't have to quite have all the terminology yet. And also Aries, our Venus in our house 8 of Aries at 6 degrees 48, is Aries ruler is Mars. Mars for us is in house 1, which is Virgo. Our house 1 and our house 2 is Virgo. And so house 1, you got house 12. It's actually it's like our Mars is 6 degrees something as well. So it's kind of on a 6th degree conjunction to our Leo Virgo rising and North Node. So the Leo Virgo cusp energies going on with our Mars Jupiter part fortune rising and North Node, which then brings in moon conjunct the sun. Well, it's not really conjunct the sun. You've got 17 and 26, so it's a 9-degree conjunction. But for us, the numbers 9, the 9-degree Aries eclipse, that all aligns for us. And it's all about personal belief systems. We have been dancing in the unseen energetic realms mostly our whole life. And so there isn't a linear, logical, this fits perfectly in here way with what we do things. And our thing is about sharing our energy, because we're not sharing our system with you, we're sharing our confidence and what's been able to heal us and put us together in this majorly multi-dimensional spiral vortex patternology of our connective tissue and our fascia and the matrices of our body and the energetic channels of the unseen energies in our body that come before, which I think is maybe pro, I'm not sure. The physical body comes after the energetics, and so we weren't able to heal ourselves from the outside in, not from lack of trying, and it is actually working from the inside out now. And so the energetics being exchanged here isn't for you to understand our system or our ways, but for your energy to feel from our energy that then gives because we always said for it to come in through the electromagnetic field and then do the journey that you need as an individual for the funnest, smoothest ride through these challenging shadow dancing planes to clear and discombobulate the blockages, like we said in that post. And so that's what we're doing. We're, in a fun, abstract way, clearing the blockages and the congestion, finally, for one last time, left in different channels. Aries rules the head and face. Scorpio, house 8, is the pelvis and the reproductive organs. The pelvis area, the reproductive organs, it's like your psoas muscle, your psoas major and your psoas minor, which is your hips flexors. It's the first muscle to wake up as a baby. It uses your thumb uses up more energy than your psoas muscle. It's where the majority of fear and trauma and anxiety reside. And so therefore this combination of head and face, with the Aries Venus, which is connected to the hearts and the values and systems and worth, self-worth, to the pelvis, we're going through upper chakras to the pivot, to the depths of the inner lower chakras. And Scorpio's ruler is Pluto, but Scorpio's modern ruler is Pluto. So you have a modern and a traditional. Yes, it is, because Scorpio's traditional ruler is Mars, and Mars is the ruler of Aries. So you can kind of see the triangulation going on again. not necessarily an equilateral triangulation like a trine, but you've got a triangulation more like maybe an isosceles triangle, where the angles are much steeper and the peak of the mountain is like harder to climb. And so the moon is also your fluids in the body as well, because in our beautiful astrology book here, it doesn't go by astrological body parts, it goes by the planets. But for instance, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo, which we said our Mars was in, is all about your abdomen and your intestines. And so we have been accessing our colon, which sorts out the water fluids in the body, through our feet and our ankles, because your forearms and your ankles, which are your ankles, your shins, your calves, are Aquarius energies that relates in polarity therapy to your ascending and descending colon. And we've been doing it through our angles by changing the gradient on how we walk. So we've been doing more very small distance, not very far, but we've been changing from doing a flat surface with our backwards walking and backwards up the steps to just walking a small distance up and down on a hill. And now going into the depths through this experience, we're doing it even more. And so we're just going to have to go to the toilet, and then we're going to do a box opening of the Queen of the Moon and the Universe Oracle. And then we'll do a little bit of sound healing, and then we'll do the reading. So bear with us. That felt like a mighty long wee. And when we had our eyes closed, because you've got the white light circle, and all we have inside is like there's a word for it. We always say deaf, blind, dumb, and a fantasia. So when you're blind inside and it's just darkness. But we end up getting the pattern. So we had that white light ringed thing. But there was a breakage in it. but that's because there is a breakage in it with the phone going across, so it's not quite a full white circle. So I'm glad we brought awareness then, because we were thinking about that and we thought how it's not a full white circle, that must be because this is how it's been before, where there's a disconnect in the neurological pathways. But it's not, it's because it's not actually there. And that holds symbolism for us as well. But what we love, because we said how the fingers and the toes were communication and reflexology, and your communication is your throat chakra, which is like, no, that's not throat chakra, it's indigo, third eye. Your nose and your eyes of your head and face relate to your toes and your fingers, and the big toe actually is your head, and it's the right big toe today. And right for us normally means past and masculine, but as we're shifting massively at the moment, there isn't if you put it simply, the figure of 8 is the way the energy is in the body, and that's only on one plane. So if you've got it on this side and then it goes round and up, it may be that your right is your past and your left is your feminine, but that's only one dimension. As you go to the figure of 8 and go to the opposite side, that's what it's like on the inside. So if you're dancing on the surface of the outer body, then yes, it could be like that, but if you've gone deeper, it will be the opposite. And so yeah, it's not so linear and singular as that. So we don't do words to invite in guides or anything like that, because for us personally, everything outside of us is an illusion. It's a projection of our own internal reality and our processing model. And so therefore, to experience something outside of you, yes, there's the collective agreement outside, but the initial one of how we perceive and experience comes from our individual processing model. And so when you see something outside of you, it's only a projection from your internal processing model. And so for us, guides, spirit guides, anything like that, it's the same. It doesn't come from without of us, it comes from inside of us. So it's an aspect of us because it's going through our human body channeling system, processing system. So it may be a collective energetics, and a lot of people say that, oh, it's not your energy, it's the collective energies. Well, for us, the collective is your energies, and no one would be picking up on that specific, let's say we're doing a tarot reading or an oracle reading in a minute, no, you wouldn't be picking up on that specific energy, even if your intention is to read for someone else. There's still something going on for you, and it may not hold the words and the narratives that one is delivering, but that message in frequency format is still for you as well, or it wouldn't be using you as a host, or it's not using you wouldn't be electromagnetically attracting that frequency or that energetics to then put a narrative to you that doesn't seem like it's connected to you to give to someone else. So for us, we don't use words to invite in guides or whatever. We do the closest thing is like your ancient yogic buzzing or humming. So we are going to connect in with the deepest depths of source energy through the yogic humming or buzzing, while we do it on the inhalation and the exhalation. Let's do the opening first. So we will do that in a minute, but we're going to do the box opening first. So we're going to change the camera around. Oh, thank you for keeping that all in the cup. So let's see if we can make you face downwards now. And if we can face the camera upwards. So if we turn the cards round for you, you ought to be able to see that. Can we zoom in? Yes, we don't want to zoom in heaps. Um, so then we can turn these round and have it the right way round for you. So we are noticing our anxiety levels are much less than what they normally are, which is awesome. We're just wondering if we're actually able. So they're all the right way around for you. We'll keep it in this area, and we have the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and we're gonna open the Queen of the Sun Oracle and the Queen of the Oracle of the Universe, all by Stacey DeMarco. And then we've got the Moonology, all by Yasmin Boland, and we've got her diary here. And so we were planning at the end just to read what she says for this moon. So we'll do that actually after the opening, before the tuning forks and bringing in the energy. So that's the full moon Virgo eclipse. So yeah, there's not much. Super new moon eclipse in Aries. So we will read that out after we just do this box opening, and then we've just put you on so we can see what's going on the screen. There we go. So we'll start with you got the glare there, we can't do anything about that. With the Oracle of the Universe by Stacey DeMarco. We love the Queen of the Moon cards for these, and it's our littles really love the cards because it brings multiple aspects together of symbology, patternology, colourology, and it's how our littles remember. And so the moon, when you've got the hunger moon, the flower moon, the snow moon, it's what our littles use to go back to as a tool, as a resource then for information. So for instance, these are 3 books from the decks of our Celtic astrology, numerology, and the stellar visions. And it will just be like one word, or we've learned, that's where they learn their initial stuff. But we also at the same time do our own intuition. And so our intuition can be very different from what someone else's perspective is. And initially that was really hard for some of us to interpret and understand, because they were very literal and very pedantic, and grew up around fear and authority, and that we had to do what other people said. And so now we have certain people's perspectives from the cards, where some of us will initially learn something, but we then understand how to develop our intuition from the rest of it. Automatically, we absolutely love these cards. This is why we don't like the but yeah, we love the colours in the back of the cards. And of course, Aries is your number one. So this is the oracle of the universe, but you've got your astro energies in it again. So can we get it to a place where there's no light glare? Not really. So you've got Aries, you've got your constellation, motivation, Taurus. So it looks like you've got your constellation up here. This is your constellations. You've actually got the star constellation, which we really like. We've got our star constellation cards as well. That's your sidereal astrology. Your Vedic astrology goes by the actual constellation in the sky, which is 24 degrees ish behind the Western astrology. So that's motivation, sisterhood, Gemini, rescue, Cancer, distraction. So Cancer is like a heart portal as well, and so that's why we brought in, because our house 11 is Cancer. When we went from house 8, which our Venus is in, it belongs to Scorpio, and our Scorpio is in house 4, which belongs to Cancer, and our Cancer is house 11. Leo, kingdom, Cancer, distraction. So again, it's many different more words to go with it as well. Virgo is justice. I mean, straight away for that with us, it's like starts showing the interconnectedness and the entanglement and the confusion for a singularity, limited linear mind. Because justice is the card of Libra, which comes after Virgo in the tarot, and Virgo is the Hermit card. So there's a connection. So what we're seeing on that connection now, because when we read cards or when we do anything like this, it's all a personal, subjective experience, and some of it makes sense to others. But your Virgo Libra cusp, that's like the boundaries between Virgo and Libra, and there's a directional energy with the compass in the head, and we've just been talking about directions as well, but we're not doing a reading at the moment. Then you've got Libra balance, so Scorpio retribution, Sagittarius acclaim, Capricorn gratitude, that's an interesting one, or ecstasy, Aquarius. What's it like if we turn this off? Pisces, bond. Yes, it's darker, but... And then we're going on to, I'm not sure what these are. I think these are like the gods. These are star constellations. They're not the dwarf planets. Andromeda, I think they're fixed stars, but we could be wrong. We'd have to look up in the book. Let's just see what the book says. That's interesting because Percy, one of the gods came up for us this morning on a movie. It does. Oh, hold on. It says constellations. Aries is a constellation in the sky. So this is like this is more of a sidereal deck than the Western astrology deck. Talk about how we figure things out in a moment without reading instructions. So yeah, these are star constellations, and you've got the familiar ones that we use in astrology, and then it goes on to the other ones, which we will know hear of as gods from mythology. And then you've got your nebulas, and then you've got your bright star. As we were developing as a human species, I like to think that at the very edges of our consciousness, awareness, we knew of and were moved by the expanse of the night sky. That we looked up and saw something which amazed us or awed us, or that we at least found interesting or beautiful, that we found meaning in it. Perhaps it was just something that the moon and its luminosity stirred in us, just like coral spawn or dung beetle behaviour. But looking up at the night sky, connecting with the planets, stars and our own moon, weaving with the signals of the night sky, we yearned and were inspired to move and reach and do. We know that our earliest ancestors painted the night sky on caves and rock shelves. The oldest found to date is the Lascaux, France, carbon dated at 17,300 years old. So we were hoping it might just say about a brief thing with the nebula. But we've got our star book. We can do that personally afterwards. So you've got Andromeda, Perseus, Destiny, Ursa Major, Vows, Ursa Minor, Consequence, and so we get Orion, Hydra. Oh, this must be the deck that San's got. She talks about the Hydra energy and wanting to know about it. She's drawn to that. Centaurus, Cetus, the whale, Thea, that's the 14th astrology sign after Ophiuchus, the 13th astrology sign. How do you say that one? Eridanus. We're reading this upside down as well. And then we've got Pegasus, Freedom. That was the name of our van in New Zealand. Cassiopeia, Aquila, Canis Major, which is like we're in the Jaguar for the next 5 days, 6 days, including today. And then we go into the totem animal of the dog in the Mayan Galactic calendar. So that's interesting. That comes up. We'll probably bring that up. Cygnus, Lyra, Draco, Delphius, Love, Generosity, Volpica, Hercules. It looked like that man came up before. Crux, which is like Signal, Eagle, Omega. Oh, so this must be the nebulas now. Twin Jet, Butterfly, Change. Yeah. Oh, we've been on the nebulas for a while, actually. It says it in the top left-hand corner. So the Eagle creation was the start of the nebula cards. Omega, Limitations, a nebula. Butterfly, Twin Flame, Change. Flame, Ingenuity. Because if you look at the patternology of the stars and the skies, you know, and the neurons, it does look like what's going on in your head. And then it does look like when you're up in a bird's eye view of the planet and you've got the lights of the cities and the outer regions. They all look that same patternology and synchronicity. Helix, Eye of God, Protection. Necklace, Self-Trust. We're really drawn to that one at the moment. Skull, Rosette, Fragility. Glue, Snowball, Patience. Consistency. Alpha Centaur, Courage. Vega, Fallen Eagle, Dynamism. And these are the bright stars, actually. We were waiting for the start. The bright stars, there's 4 of them. Sirius, Dog Star, Consistency. So the Sirius, Annulus, Canis Major, which do the dog energies. And we love the dog energies because dog backwards is God. Alpha Centaur, Courage is the bright star. Vega, the Falling Eagle, Dynamism. And Canopus, Guidance. We love the, I don't know if you can see it on here, the rainbow silver edging. So we're just going to give that a very brief starting shuffle. See if there's anything that comes through. Nothing needs to come through as such, but we're starting to put the intention and the questioning out there for, are we just going to pull the cards and see what messages come out, or are we going to actually put a structured intention to it so that all the Moonology cards say something, and then we do the Queen of the Sun, Queen of the Moon and the Universe. So we don't know in this moment, but we're just putting the questions out there and the attention out there, so that there's a bit of guidance to, are we going to actually give a linear logical structure so that this card is going to answer the question to this, which in this moment it's like, well, no, because it's not about narratives, it's not about questions. We're reading energies for collective energies of fundamental foundational frequencies, and therefore the narratives and the words depend on you to create your own story and your own narrative. And then we've got Queen of the Sun Oracle. So we'll be intrigued on this one because, as we said in the Queen of the Moon, she has about the full moons, and the names of the full moons, the harvest moon. And so, for instance, the harvest moon won't always belong to the same moon. We just said the harvest moon. We're guessing that's in September. And so when you've got the names of the moons like that, the harvest moon, oh, look at that, the harvest moon is September. But therefore, in September, it could be, you've got your, what's September? End of September is your Libra. September, October is your Libra, and so therefore August, September is your Virgo. So it could be either your Pisces full moon, or what's opposite Libra, your Aries. So the harvest moon will be either Pisces or Aries, depending which cycle you're in. And it took us a little while to figure that out, but because we're always questioning, and because we have to figure stuff out through our own process of questioning and kinesthetic learning, that's why, another reason why the cards are so good for us. Because it gives us a physical, tangible tool for our littles that stays consistent and the same, that they don't have to like look up on the internet, and we can go back to, and each time a new question comes into play, or we find a bit of information out from somewhere else, we can then we like this, draw down the power of the sun, draw down the power of the solar plexus. We love it when it says messages inside. So did she have a message in this one? No. So that's interesting. She doesn't always put messages in the boxes. None of her other two boxes have messages. So I don't know if that's something new that she started doing, and that this is her last deck out. Tito por Momo. Is that what you're feeling? Is it, my lovelies? So our littles feel that this is the newest deck she's got out, and she's decided to start putting messages in them. You have very earthly colours on the back of the deck with the yellow, brown, earthy colour. And so for us, the brown, earthy colour is going more down into the Earth star, a few feet below your feet. Tito por Momo, which for us personally, and we would say connects to other people, it's great news, because one of the things we've spent most money on, and there's been an expensive learning curve, is attempting to learn to grow mushrooms, and it's not worked. And mushrooms, your mycelium networks, are the fundamental networks that allow trees to communicate, and it's the underworld, the shadows. Venus is, I'm not sure if Venus is still in the underworld, or if she's just coming out of the underworld, because she will be a morning star and an evening star, depending which side of the sun she's on. And she disappears behind the sun as well, and does a 9-month cycle. So for here, solar cycle 1, purpose. So we're going into solar cycles. Isn't this where the sun has like an 11,000 year cycle? And you've got your solar flares. We don't know heaps about the sun, so this is awesome because it's bringing more awareness and more energy, because where awareness goes, where attention goes, energy goes. And so that's why we're doing all these fun tools that we do, because it's bringing our awareness, our attention, and therefore our energy to those areas. And when you're working with the words and the narratives, are just a surface level of the fundamental frequency, and the fundamental frequency can bring up polar opposite wording and narratives, hence why we did that explanation at the start, which we didn't realize until now. And so this is about solar cycles. So we've been living by lunar cycles and the moon cycles with our conscious mind, the depths, the collective unconscious with Jungian. Solar cycle 2 is action. So you've got purpose, then action. Aries is Mars. Leo's the sun, ruled by the sun, but they're fire energies, connecting in the fire elemental consciousness. We're moving out of the feminine earthly consciousnesses in the tangible, or in the untangible, in the planetary energies. From Pluto's just left Capricorn and is now in Aquarius. Neptune, Capricorn is feminine. Pisces is feminine and fluid, water. Capricorn's an earth, feminine, earth and feminine. Going into masculine, air. And Uranus is Taurus, earth, going into Gemini, air. And what goes on in the unseen, in the astrological, is backwards, opposite to the seen. And so therefore, if it's been more dominant masculine, more dominant feminine energies in the unseen energetics with these collective outer planets, that's why we've been more in the patriarchal dominant energetics in societal systems and government and in the earthly tangible dimensions that we live in. And so now that they're shifting in the unseen into the masculine, that means that give a bit of time, give a bit of push and pull, back and forth, a bit of volatility. Then when things settle, when the mud from all the change starts settling again at the bottom of the waters, the clarity comes on the new systems in the tangible, whatever area, that are going to transpire in the more matriarchal energetics. And the masculine is more of the part, the feminine is more of the whole. Solar cycle 3 is resilience. Solar cycle 4 is focus. Dita Pomomo. That's what our littles want to do now, is in the Queen of the Moon Oracle. You've got words, you've got cards that have similar words, they were saying. And that they want to pair up the words on the cards. Although I don't know if it might be that it's different cards. Yeah, we'll have to see if our littles are correct on that. They can get mixed up, but they also hold the foundational psychic intuitive energies, because children and elderly are the ones that are closest to spirit. And for us, spirit is breath, it's life force energy. Life force energy is the sun energies. We've got a very good live through my shorts on that one on this channel. Solar cycle 5, eclipse. And then that's interesting. So there's only 5 solar cycles. And then we go into the solar. So the 6th solar cycle is the maximum. Is that what it says? Yeah, solar maximum accomplishment. So that's interesting. We've gone into the 6 dynamic. 6 is the number of unconditional love. We live in the healing lounge of 66, which is made up of double dose of unconditional love, which adds up to 12, the masculine baker's dozen of the tangible that we live in. 13 is the feminine whole. Solar cycle 7 is will. Okay, so you've gone to the maximum, you've gone to the peak. So you've gone from like the new moon to the full moon, and now, which is the waxing, and now you're going on the waning, the descending, rather than going up the hill. Now we're going down the hill. Solar cycle 8 is contentment. Picture of an older lady. So your solar cycles, your sun cycle. So when the solar cycle ends, it's when which is a year on Earth, then you die. Solar cycle 9, mind you, this has gone later on. It's not an old lady anymore, but there's a luminosity in her stomach area. Solar cycle 10, reformation. She's going into the transmutation stage where she's going to turn into a liquid inside the chrysalis. Solar minimum, rest. Queen of the sun is power. See, we would say we much prefer, we relate in power to be a very masculine, greedy word. It's not a word, it's a word that we hold negative connotations to. We much prefer the word empowerment. And we see the word empowerment as more feminine, but that now is coming from that singular perspective of which we're transitioning out of. And so we're going from the feminine of the feminine, the empowerment of the feminine energies, the empowerment of the empowerment, into the masculine of the feminine, the power of the empowerment. Aurora, beginnings. Soul Invictus, life. Amaterasu, recovery. Is there two there together? No. Beaver, mental health. So these will relate to the months just like the moon does. Hathor, joy. That's Egyptian. The Hathor. No, that's Thor we're thinking of. Hathor and Thor have the words Thor in it. Fertility, flora. See, Bridget is the goddess, Celtic goddess of, creation. It says creation. Bridget is Celtic goddess. It's Imbolc. It's spelled Imbolc, but pronounced Imbolc, we believe. Sekhmet, protection. So you've got Celticism in here. You've got Egyptology in here. Aya, truth. I don't know if it's called Egyptology. That's the word that just came out. Pavatar, weaving. Pavati, that's Indian. So she's entangling and weaving all the different all your different mythologies together. Saul, welcome. Sulis, synergy. That almost looks like the maypole dancing. Surya Dev, illumination. Apollo, insight. Helios, cycles. Anya, wealth. Anya's an Irish again. Baldur, beauty. So that's going into the Norse, isn't it? Ra, order. Is that Egyptian still, or is that Greek? Litha, fertility. That's your paganism. Again, your Wicca, we think. Lammas, yeah, these are all your seasons with your Wicca. Mabon, preparation, which is autumn. Samhain, possibility. Some people pronounce it Samhain. Yule, which is your Christmas time. Hope. Oh, here's Imbolc, renewal, but the Bridget does relate to that area as well, we're pretty sure. We've got a thing, a post of it on Ostara, grace. I'm pretty sure it's Ostara now that we've just had with the what have we just had? Spring equinox. Beltane, passion. Eclipse, boundaries. So eclipses is thresholds and boundaries. Flares, the unexpected. Rainbow, reflection. Photosynthesis, receptivity. So that's bringing us into our liquid chlorophyll that we have. Your year, progression. We've just actually had our... So this is interesting now because we literally just printed off the progression aspects for us, and that we're doing meditations on them, and there's not many, but on the 2nd of March this month we had one which we can't remember what it is, but we had our Venus, natal Venus return on our birthday, but we had our solar return the day before our birthday. And then on the 16th of March, we had our progression Mercury, natal Mercury, progression Mercury conjunction the sun, the center. So we're just going to have to visit the toilet again, and then we're going to come in and finish off. Not finish off that, finish off this section. Okay, there's nothing we can do. Thank you for being patient with us while we have to alleviate ourselves of bathroom needs. Oh, we're going to be excited about this card reading. We really are. See, now our hands, we do a bit of a cold water face wash hands. Right, so we've done that opening of those packs. It's so exciting that we're getting back into our cards again. It's a long time where we've just been away from our cards, which is good, because for us, especially with our shadow work, we've been revisiting all of our shadow work creative poetry videos, and we've got all the chakra vortices through the violet, so it's all going into the fractal dimensions. So you've got each of your chakras, but then you've got each of the chakra colors in each chakra. So this is the violet, the crown chakra. We've got each of the chakra colors in the crown chakra. So do we want it upside for us, down for us, or for you? I don't know. We'll just do it and see what happens. So there you go, guys. We're going to read from, you've seen that Yasmin Boland's diary, seeing as that's what all these cards here are. And as we read from this, if it's possible, we'll, that's a honey calcite angel. We've got the yellows and our citrine. Tito Pomomo. Yeah, that's a complete lie, isn't it? Thank you, my littles. Words just come out of our mouth. They keep us in check. It's not citrine at all. We do like citrine. It's yellow and its nickname's the cuddle quartz, but this is actually tiger's eye. Thank you, my littles. You're such stars. So we're going to get all of these out and we'll shuffle them, and we're under the current intention that we're going to read them as well, read this book as well. And I don't know if that's a bit naive, ignorant, we're not sure the right word. Words for us is the ones that we are learning to become impeccable with our processing language disorder and our trauma. Our words can get very all over the place. I think we can do it. So the super new moon eclipse in Aries. which is just past us now. What time are we on? Because it's 12 o'clock, so it's actually coming to its end. And an article we read, it said that it will start just past 10 a.m. and it will finish at its peak. It'll peak around 10:48 and then it will finish at around midday. So the intense peak central energies of the solar eclipse has ended, and we've got cards here that we must have had out from last time. We sometimes put cards from a reading on the top of the pack, and there's quite a lot here. So I don't think these were from a reading. These were from, we used the cards to do our work as well. So we must have categorized them and ordered them. What have we got? Hunter Moon, Thunder Moon, Green Core Moon. Yes, all the ones that are the right way up. What we were saying about how the, can we go to the Harvest Moon? Because we actually gave, that's the masculine, the lunar gods. Hot Moon Extremes. Oh, it's going to be really, here it is, the Harvest Moon. So when we said about the Harvest Moon earlier, the Harvest Moon is in September. So depending when the moon cycle is in September, the end of September is Libra, the start of September is Virgo, the opposite of Virgo is Pisces. So if the lunar cycle is in the start of September, it's going to be, the Harvest Moon will be a Pisces full moon. If it's the end of September, the opposite of Libra is Aries, and so it'll be an Aries full moon. And Aries and Pisces is your fire and your water. It's your cardinal, your beginning energies, your queen in the tarot, or Pisces is your mutual energy, and that's the kings in the tarot. But actually the King of Cups in the tarot is your feminine of the masculine, which is then connected to the queens. So there's always, even though there can be seemingly completely opposite energies, just like we said at the start, of either end of your line, your linear, your logical, the opposites then become one and the same thing when you're going into the unseen energetics and they joined. And that's how, when we go from our linear logical mind, the paradoxical can be it just be mind-blowing and explode your mind, and why you've got to be gentle to start getting into the understanding of they become one and the same thing. And actually, and I'm pretty sure it's in part 1 of Your Hero with 1,000 Faces, part 1, chapter 5, Apotheosis, there's a wonderful section in there how these opposites equate to be one and the same thing with each other. And it brings a whole new understanding then into like communication and understanding people, because communication can cause distance, and people, you know, that love each other not communicating for years and decades and maybe never again, just because they've misunderstood because of communication and words. And so for us, the era, the paradigm shift that's happening is that we're moving into an age where we don't need words to communicate as much, because the courageous ones are doing the deep dive of individuation, of self-inquiry, of self-empowerment through facing their fears, through staying present when they've been woken up about their denials, which is going to be many. Denial's our friend. It protects us until it doesn't. And when we are made aware of something, staying awake, like we said before, is what we personally believe is the hardest. Staying awake and present in the moment, witnessing yourself be someone or something or doing something that you don't like, and still staying awake until you reconnect, or not even reconnect, connect for the first time those neurological pathways with the physiological pathways to create the new habit. There's a great Ren song, Chalk Outlines, and we were changing the lyrics slightly the other day because it's with him and Chinchilla, and it was little by little, bit by bit, push it back down with a new habit. And so when we were walking the other day, our little was coming out with that phrase, little by little, bit by bit, bring it to the surface with a new habit, because it's when we don't get these dissonant frequencies, these trauma frequencies out of us, that they start causing illness and ailments and dysfunction inside the body, especially if it's on a pathology of the body which is already been dysfunctioned from previous generations. And this is where generational trauma comes into play. And so in your lifetime, you may have never had this connection, energetic connection in your body, in your physical body, but through the lineage, when you reverse engineer on the patterning, there would have been this. So it's like with cancer, it's your synapses. Your synapses get turned on or off or not, depending nurture or nature. It's not nurture or nature, it's nurture and nature. And it can be hard to transcend, very much so. We're still navigating it with some of us, that victim consciousness of how it isn't fair and how it seems like it is much harder than everyone else and irrelevant. Maybe that's factual, maybe it's not factual, but to stay in that mindset can actually be more harmful. So it's what it is and it's what we choose to be able to adapt or respond to or make of. So, super new moon eclipse in Aries, keywords and ideas for this lunation. Start over, be brave, choose your dreams, get lucky. The date and time of this super new moon eclipse. LA is the 29th. They're all on the 29th, which is today, and it's 3:57 a.m. New York, it was 6:57 a.m. London, it was 10:57 a.m. and in Sydney, 21:57. We've got the Moonology cards from Yasmin Bloom. We've got the Manifestation cards from Yasmin Bloom. And then we've got the Message cards. So even if we don't do a completely logical, linear, structured way, there will be a structure to it. The messages are coming after the manifestations. At least that's what we thought before. Capricorn, take a reality check. These are all full moons again. Capricorn, take a reality check. Taurus, detoxify. And Pisces, forgive. So some of those energies. So yeah, we've been working with these cards in a different way. And so all the full moon cards will be separate into their ways. And then we turn the backs over to another section, and so that's the last quarter moon. So we're going to separate these out like we do the tarot and mix them up again so that they're, and then we've got the new moon, and then this will be the first quarter. Yeah, and there's a full moon card there. Virgo, take inspired action. So we'll just like quickly, we tend to like things to be very a bit of the autism. We like them to be mixed up. We either like them to be thoroughly mixed up before we do a reading, because that gives our scientific mathematical ones then kind of proof or evidence for the mystical ones. And it's really interesting because, you know, you get the autistic people saying we don't like change, and if you're in victim consciousness, we don't like change, that's why we don't do it, that's what we get stuck in. Most shamans, Jaguar is very big symbology for shamanism. Most shamans, medicine people of the tribe, are autistic because of that acute awareness, attention to detail, and ability to remember. And we were thinking how for us we seem to be different from the conventional autism of society, but then it didn't get picked up for us when we were younger. And we also didn't do the 2.4, no matter how much our dream is to buy land, build a house, meet our lover, have kids, we still will hope for that reality until we stop our period. But we have to become realistic that those dreams are, or the dream of being a mum anyway, is coming to an end from the, you know, give birth from your own body perspective anyway. But for us, we set off, it's always been about, even if it wasn't consciously so. Success, the biggest success for us is that we wake up each day and we're still alive, and we're learning to appreciate, because some of us feel and some of us know the beauty of life, but we have that polar opposite extreme, and we've become a lot more clear about what that is. I mean, through the many years of the channeling and information that's come through, some of it came through that our mum, who committed suicide, we believe committed suicide from reading the last 4 months of a diary, found washed up on a beach, was the same soul energetics as us. And so what it became too much for her psychologically, in human form, to cope with being incarnated in 2 human bodies so close together. Now, if you're incarnated into 2 or more human bodies that aren't close together, it's a different energetic pool. But there's many of us, and like we said before, have different belief systems. So that's one perspective. But when you put that narrative and that perspective into different wording, different terminology, for more of a human form terminology rather than a spiritual form terminology, I can understand then how our literals would have absorbed the words and the narrative that it was their fault that she died. Because if you are incarnated from the same soul energetics, from an immediate next dimensional plane where the one becomes the 2, because at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters from source energy, from the same source energy. So we're all basically from the same finality over soul, before the peak, the implosion to the explosion, the center of the figure of 8, where you've got the 2 circles touching or kissing. Is that the Versica Pisces? Or I think that's more when it overlaps. And so we can understand how from that terminology that took the case, and we can also understand that being the case from our father coming from Southern Ireland and deep Catholicism, to then becoming a humanist because he couldn't understand or equate in his own being the dark and the light, the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, the sin from the words of the church, into understanding compassion and kindness, or the most important thing of self-compassion and self-kindness, because we can't give that to others unless we have it for ourselves. And he hasn't been able to do that for himself. He hasn't been able to do it for others, hence why he used to project onto us. Tito Pomo Momo, have we opened these and not used these properly, or was it ones of us that we're not fully connected to in this moment? Because these seem, I think it must be ones we're not connected to in this moment, because they're open, but we don't recognize these at all. So look at Jasmine's artwork here. There's these ones which we love and become popular, and it's just they're more dark and black and moon with a bit of imagery. And then these ones go into colours that we find your pastel colours much harder. They repel us more. These we do actually really like. They are pastel colours, but they're pastel colours that we can embrace. Some pastel colours just kind of almost send a cringy nails down chalkboard feeling for us. But then you're going into these so these merge into each other. We love that. We've been there. That's just down the road, Menontoll Stone Circle. We've got beautiful stone circles here in Cornwall. Then we go into these bold colours. They're not merged, they're very separated. And that's interesting because it did just say about eclipses are boundaries. And in our body, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome has your hypermobility. There isn't a clear definition of boundary in the body. The connective, there's a malfunction in the connective tissue. Your guide ropes of the tents don't work properly. Your ligaments don't hold your skeleton in place properly. And depending which type, if you are an average human from the conventional medical system, then that depends whether it's your vascular, with your insides and your organs, or whether it's your type 3 with more of your surface level in your body and your hypermobility. But then you can get skin sagging, where you've got like 10 people's worth of skin on one body and you look like you're really old, no matter if you're really young. But that's because in society we categorize and we separate. We have started, we've got our Shinto's channel talking about boundaries with the fence of the garden. So our whole house and what we've been doing with our garden has all been related to understanding energetics through observing nature and kinesthetic experiential experience. And we're feeling that the energetics of our external reality and our garden, our tangible experience learnings, our external immediate objective reality is merging with our internal subjective reality of the boundaries of the body. There's that film that you liked, wasn't there, of that girl in school, and what did she say? There was a question asked about the book which we can't recall, but she said it's about dissolving the lines between the internal and the external realities, and that really stood out for us. And again, the omens, symbolism, how we conduct our own journey with psychic energies is all to do with our individual processing systems and how we interpret stuff, and then to the aligned to the energies of the courage to be happy, and the courage to be happy and aligned and synchronistic and harmonic in our own internal subjective and external objective realities, where the lines do get dissolved and we become one whole being, means we have to embrace the energetics and have the courage to be disliked, especially if what we communicate and what we talk about is going to be controversial to the controversial. So spirituality is starting to become more mainstream, but it still isn't really mainstream. It's becoming more and more accepted, but it's still not fully accepted. So when you are someone that's then gonna be the question and trigger people in the spiritual, you're triggering the non-mainstream of the non-mainstream. You're the minority. And it takes great courage to be in the minority. But if the aim is to be fully authentic, the more fully authentic we are, it's because we've dived really deep, the more different we're going to be. Then there isn't going to be these categorizations and compartments and boxes to fill. And that doesn't fit in with the way the systems function in our linear current patriarchal societal systems. But you can have themes. You can have themes of situations, but your linear mind that creates the systems through the individual, because these systems are for the collective, but they're created by individuals, just like the collective energetics of the collective unconscious. For us, the collective unconscious consists of the collective conscious and the collective subconscious, which is your conscious mind, your upper chakra energetics, your faster vibrating atoms and subatomic energetics, which is the steam state of your water molecule. And then it's the faster vibrating, and it's the unseen. But then you have the collective subconscious of the unconscious, which is the denser, it's the compressed states of atom, seen and unseen. It's the ice state of water. And I know for us, our main focus has been get strong, flexible and balanced in the body, and then so we will be in the mind. It has just taken a long time to get like that in our body because of our gifts of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which gives us an understanding of the electromagnetic energy in our body, our fibromyalgia, which gives us the understanding of the electrochemical energy in the body and the body's capability to build new pathways, even if it's not the optimum frequency pathway. The POTS give you the understanding of the pressure in the body, which is the energy traveling down the tubular channels like we read out on our Discord before. So it's all about understanding, personal understanding. Every now and then the universe really delivers. This new moon is one of those times because it's taking place in the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. At least once a year we get a new moon in Aries, offering us all a big chance for a new start. This new moon isn't just a new moon in Aries, it's also a super new moon eclipse. Super meaning that she is extra close to the Earth in her orbit. One of my favourite analogies for how to understand eclipses come from a US astrologer who was one of the few people to do in-depth work with the moon and eclipses. Her name was Sophia Mason, and she put it like this, and this is Jasmine Bloom. Let's say that at the new moon, the energies are expressed in terms of you finding $10 you didn't know was in your jeans pocket. With the new moon eclipse, you'll find 50. This isn't literally a prediction that you're going to find money, though you might. It's about the fact that whatever happens now is supercharged. Even if you only make one set of new moon wishes and set one lot of new moon intentions all year, do it this new moon. Make a 12-month plan and don't delay. You have all the resources you need in the following pages. And so for us, our focus and our intention has been about not forcing and not doing anything that creates more stress. And so for us, it doesn't come really easy to make plans in your conventional societal way of structuring. And so for us, this is part of our manifestation process. This is part of us interacting with the moon's energy. And we have planned to write down our new moon wishes and our new moon intentions, and we haven't written them down yet, but one of our new moon wishes that start off, which we have done ourselves, and then thanks to Jenny Florence, because we always need people external of us to iterate the same things that some of us agree and believe in, to enable certain aspects of us and our littles to listen, because they won't listen to us. But they listen to others, and if there's others saying the same thing as us, then it really sinks in, and we understand why they won't listen to us. We've self-sabotaged our body for decades. They don't trust us, and we completely understand why they don't trust us, and that's okay. And so we've seeded lots of information and wishes and hopes to find the aligned people that will agree with what we're saying, if what we're saying is in our highest good, and if it isn't, to make us aware and awake to what is in our best interests. And so if you're here, then that will be what's happening for you as well. Or there'll be entanglements of it, maybe with different words, but on a fundamental frequency. And so our first wish would be to discombobulate, to release, to transcend, to alchemize, etc., all of the energetic blockages and congestion in both physical, chemical, unseen energetic in all of our bodies, so that then what we actually wish for can come in. And so also then have the connections made, so you get rid of all the congestion and blockages, and then you wish for having all the connections made, so that then all of our wishes and dreams can actually come in, and there isn't a resistance in the body, because we've done the body work. And I think we have done the body work for unseen energetically now for almost long enough. It's always a process, but I think we've done a big part of what's necessary, and now it's about doing the physical. Hence why we do our inversions with our supported inversion stool. We can't do our rebounder again yet for a while until we get under 100 kilos. Hence why we've started walking on a gradient to change the angle in our ankle. There's another amazing YouTube shorts, the Fruma shorts, on that journey we did, talking about angles and angels. It doesn't bring in ankles. We've got another post of that on our Discord, but it's all interconnected. So we may not, whether we write down or not, I hope we do, but we may not. This is our writing down process. We do audio journals for this. This is kind of like an audio journal, but it's an audio and some visual onto a camera, but it is being journaled on our YouTube channel. But we're also offering it to others to see our process, but also doing a collective reading. It's for the collective of us deep inside. But like we said earlier, by going to the deepest depths inside, it takes you to the most extreme outer regions of the galaxy and then connects all in between. But how we believe there probably won't be that many that resonate with it because it's too extreme, too far out there, too deep, and they're not ready to experience the depths of their own individuality and authenticity yet in that area, because that takes courage. And courage is facing those fears, and a lot of the time we're not even aware of those fears yet. The planet of communication, Mercury, is retrograde at the time of this new moon eclipse. Moreover, it's retrograde in Aries, the same sign of the zodiac in which the eclipse is taking place, and our Venus. This means that whatever in your life is about to spring forward could also be connected to the past. Before too long, everything old could be new again. Create a 12-month oracle spread. Oh, that's interesting, actually, because we've got her cards and we were waiting for information to come in. So I think we've just been given guidance of the collective reading that we're going to do for a 12-month oracle spread, because we've done cards with the seasons for ourselves before, but not particularly for this. So I think we've just found our spread that we're going to do. The nature of this new moon eclipse in the first sign of the zodiac, Aries, makes it the absolutely perfect time to create a 12-month plan. It would also help you to know about the energies you're likely to encounter as you carry out this plan. Take a sheet of paper on your journal and draw up 3 rows of 4 columns to create a grid of 12 squares. Add the month names so that you've effectively created a little year at a glance calendar. Now take a deck of oracle cards, shuffle and draw 1 card for each month. Write the details of each card in the appropriate square of your grid. As you carry out your 12-month plan, refer back to this card spread to see what energies are coming your way each month. It might only be the end of March, early April, but we're very much at the time of the astrological new year. How to work with this moon. To discover where the energy of this super new moon eclipse is for you, find your star sign or rising sign here. So if you know the time of your birth, you'll know your rising sign. But if you don't know the time of your birth, go with your sun sign, your star sign. So for us, that's why, another reason why we're talking about the polar opposites, either end going round to be the start in the center, because for us our sun sign is Aquarius, 26 degrees, our rising sign is Leo, 29 degrees, and so they're opposite. So there's completely this push and pull of opposites the whole time with us. But that's why it's been important to get the linear into the circular and gain that comprehension in the body first, through body knowledge and awareness and experience, and then in the mind. See which house it is involved, and then, so if you know your sun sign, you're not going to know your house of your natal chart, but you can find what house your sun sign is in for where you are currently living, which will bring you into an understanding of your present. So rather than using your past and your natal birth chart of where everything was and knowing the time of your birth, you can use your current living position and the time that you sit down to create your manifestation, and you have that intuitive pull to pull out a chart for that moment in time, or you might want to pull out a chart for a specific time, and it will give you a house system then to work with. So it's not a be all or end all if you don't know your time of birth. And that's interesting because we've been wanting to gain more clarity in worded terminology of the feeling we've been getting, to make that distinction of understanding your house, of having a house system because you know your time of birth or not. And then read the new moon through the houses. See pages 12 to 15. So here in her book, she's given a list of the houses. See Aries first house, blah, 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 blah. So new moon eclipse, to discover where the energy of the super new moon eclipse is for you, find your star sign or rising sign here, see which house is involved, and then read the new moon through the houses. So we're not quite understanding that wording now with the current energies we're in. But our Aries is house 8, and so we would think you read house 8, but there's a disconnection in our cognitive functioning connections here. The 8th house, this new moon is firing up the part of our chart that deals with sex and finances, sometimes separately and sometimes at the same time. When it comes to sex, if your life is full, do whatever it takes to rev things up. If you've been inhibited, try something new. Go as far as you feel comfortable. Money-wise, it's all about where your money is involved with someone else. So you have a chance for a restart regarding your pay or salary. Plus, it's a very good time to set up a debt repayment plan. So I don't know if it's money to do with someone else, then for us personally, with our house 8, maybe it's about winning the lottery. I know our littles would love that. Maybe it's about winning an amaze house. Our littles would love that. I suppose stocks, markets and investments as well could come under that. But that would relate to both of us and would be very fitting with that, especially with the... we're wondering what our house is in currently in this moment time of doing it, but that's okay. So new moon wishes and intentions, in case you do want to just write these ones down. My current biggest, most audacious goal, wish or intention is. Now she separates goal, wish or intention. If you follow Jenny Florence on Moon Magic Tarot, she defines the difference between a wish or an intention. A wish is what you wish for and what you want. An intention is the action you plan to put in play to make that wish come true. So for instance, if our wish is to release all blockages and congestion in our energetic body, tangible and untangible, that our attention would be what action we're going to take to make that happen. It could be doing some pranayama breathing work to do it in the untangible body. It can be doing the walking up and down gradients, steep gradients, to release it in the physical body, because that will impact the colon, tone the colon up, toning the colon up through the angle, the gradient walking, changing the angle of your ankles as you walk, doing the movement to strengthen that muscle in the ankle, which then strengthens the muscle in the calves and the shins, which has that impact on the colon with polarity therapy and the connections of those meridians from the outside to the depths of the inside. And if you tone up the colon, then you're creating a more of a squeeze pressure to release out the toxins in the body of the fat molecules in the fat cells. And then if you do yoga and do twists, whether it's a seated twist for a restorative twist, to also help catalyze the pushing, the squeezing of the sponge to get the old water out, the squeezing of the organs through the action of twisting to release the old blood, and then they allow the new blood to come in. You don't necessarily, that's us personally with our body energetics, you don't need to know the body in such detail for that. It might be if you had a similar one to release congestion in your body, toxins in your body, blockages in your body, that you will do the actions needed that help that process, and that you open yourself to trust the intuition of your body knowledge to give you that awareness. As an example. Now turn it into an affirmation. Write it here as if it's already happened, to keep repeating it until the full moon. For us, we wouldn't do that one, because we are very much under the thing of the Dalai Lama about in the Western world. So at the moment, up of our the front of our left shin, but the inner, so the inner line, so on the inside where our two legs meet, but at the front of the top of that left shin, we just had a very gentle, warm feeling. So there's automatically a release going on, connected to the communication pathways because we're communicating, but also that's connected, linked to the pathways to our colon, because we were just talking about the colon, where your awareness goes, where your attention goes, the wording that you use, the energy goes. So just us communicating and talking like this, while connected to the collective energies of the World Wide Web, and while it being in present and live, is all having an impact. And all of this is done consciously and intentionally. That's what we've been doing with our channels right from the start, even if we've not been able to communicate it, or even if it's not communicated in a way for others to hear, because we're not doing this for others first, we're doing this for us. But in the Western world, develops the mind too much over the heart. Our focus is on developing our heart and our body, and so therefore creating an affirmation related to words is keeping one stuck up in the mental, intellectual mind. And it's about surrendering the conscious mind's need to know and understand. It's about surrendering the conscious minds of always using comprehensible words and terminology. It's about embracing the unknown. It's about surrendering to one's intuitive qualities through the body, where there isn't an intellectual worded communication of understanding. And so we would leave that one personally for where we are at. Action steps I'm going to take toward this goal in the next 24 hours, in the coming week and the month ahead. We were going to go up here and describe goals, but then we decided not to, but we are now because it's coming up. Goals is another thing for us that's related to the affirmations. It's all upper chakras, societal, interact with words to create communication and understanding with other people. Whereas right at the start of this live stream, we said how communication with words actually creates distance and misunderstanding, because people's words people don't know how to healthily communicate with each other through words, because of our own subjective attachment and meanings to words, or not having the right words to describe what's going on for our experience. And so we parrot or mimic or take someone else's words, which isn't accurate, or telling the truth of what's going for us at our moment, in that moment, but there's a limited understanding. Whereas if we all go with communication through heart value based systems, words aren't needed. And therefore, if for instance people are communicating with words and someone's in their heart that's listening and attempting to listen to the one that's more vulnerable, then they'll be able to go, I hear you saying this with your words, but I feel you saying this with your energy, and they are not aligning. And when that person describes what they're feeling with your energy and they use different words, they can then say, now this is what I'm feeling with your energy. Does this feel like it could be more aligned than the words you used? And then that gives the person words to use. But a lot of the time we communicate when both parties are in emotional states, and when one is feeling victimized, they're not able to realize that the person they're communicating with is actually more fragile, more vulnerable, and needs you to, hate to say this expression, but it's the only one coming to us in this moment, need you to man up and step out of your victimized consciousness, to step out of the rescuer dynamics, to step out of the mothering, parenting dynamics, and to just be an adult in that moment. And the majority of people in society aren't like that at the moment, because we live in a victim consciousness society, and we only know this so intrinsically deeply well at the moment because of the experiences that we've been through. And before we went through the experiences that we've been through in the last almost a decade, this is what we used to do for other people, and sadly from one perspective weren't able to find anyone like that that could do it for us. But from another perspective, weren't meant to find anyone else to do it for us, because it's about doing it for ourselves, because that is the most empowering thing we can do for ourselves, and therefore for others, to be able to break out of the current systems that we are in and drama triangles of life of perpetrator, victim, rescuer, parent, child, adult, and become a pure, energetic, healthy, whole dynamics, because monkey see, monkey do, energies mirror each other. Tips: write these actions as reminders on the diary pages. I commit to this goal wholeheartedly, sign here. So we've been using this actually to write down other things, like this has got our right elbow, conscious gap, galactic activation portal. So with the Mayan galactic calendar, there's galactic activation portals, and when we were writing down the certain dates of the portals, we were noticing that they were happening. Oh no, when we were looking at the black 13 articulations of the major articulations, major joints in the body, 13 being the number of the moon cycles, 12 being the number of the solar cycles, we were noticing how they were all on galactic activation portals. So this is why the Mayan galactic calendar has been super amazing for our body. So we're on the 29th now. So that is on this week. So this week, we're at the end of this week, is very much the start of a new cycle with a new moon eclipse in Aries, Venus and Mercury retrograding from Aries back into Pisces, and Neptune moving into Aries. March, so we've had the Gabriel's feast day on March the 24th. We had 2 days ago Venus retrograding back into Pisces. Yesterday we had the dark moon. The dark moon for us personally is our new moon. And then tomorrow Mercury retrogrades back into Pisces and Neptune into Aries. The quote of the week: whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power and magic in it. Begin it now. And I love that, because we talked about the boldness. We talked about the boldness of the colours of these cards. And these cards here specifically align to the Moonology messages. And so these were the ones that we were going to do last, because the message is what one gives. And the message is the guide to help the manifestation, which is these cards, take place. And then, even if it's not specific for you, this is a collective reading. The Moonology cards here, along with the Queen of the Moon Oracle, the Moonology cards is going to kind of say what, I don't know, it's going to be like roughly what area. These cards here, the Queen of the Moon and the Moonology cards, is going to bring some kind of information together that will help understand. We're not sure on the words yet. We understand the energetics and the feeling, but we don't have the words for it yet. But I'm sure that will come into play as we've got 111 minutes ago on the recording of this. There's only one watching, which is actually ourselves watching ourselves. But again, that's that witnessing oneself to understand and become more co-conscious and more clear within your own witnessing fractal aspects of consciousness. And Dito Momo and Zen's just had a major relaxing release and sigh, which means the energetic exchange of electromagnetic fields between two energetic living beings. We've got the plants, but we aren't able to see the plants in that moment. There's more of a faster vibration, energetic living communication going on between human and human, or animal and human, than there is between like a plant and human. That's much more subtle. And when we're doing this, we're much more anxious, so that subtlety is too far a gap for the communication process. And so then we've got the universe. We did say about going deep within oneself to go to the outer regions of the galaxy. So that's going to be the first card we do, that then brings us into the sun, that the conscious, and then brings it into the moon, the unconscious. So we're going really, really deep into the unconscious, the sub and super conscious, to access the outer regions of the external, to then bring it back through the outer to the inner. So we've got our cards there to do the reading, and we'll now get the energies here, and we're going to light another incense. We've got our candles going. Yeah, our parasympathetic nervous system is kicking in beautifully, because our hands are the fingertips of our hands are extremely cold. The tips of your hands are the reflex energy of the lower body, of the upper body. Notice our back to frontness and inside outness now because of our words. Our feet are the reflexology of the lower body being the devilish, earthly energies, the upper body being the chakras of the heavenly energies, the expansive energies, and our fingertips, I don't know if you can notice it, are starting to get really wrinkled as if we're in a bath. And so that's connecting into the deepest aspect. That's showing that there's been slack created on our fingertips as that the screen does that go all a bit mad. That was awesome to watch. The screen just lost it on what we're viewing. So this is what happens when one is in the bath normally, and it shows that there's been a looseness in the connective tissue of the intestines inside the Virgo energies. Virgo and Gemini. Gemini is the rulers of the fingers, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the nervous system, and the lungs. Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in Aries at the moment as well as Venus. So we have our Venus tuning fork. We don't have our Mercury. Do you want to get Mercury? I'm not sure if we're going to get Mercury. I think we might get Mercury out. So Venus and Mercury will go into the middle. And then we've got the sun and the moon, which is either side. We've then got our liberating guilt and fear and our connecting and relating. So if we're talking about deep fear within the body, in the emotions and the colon, we're going to liberate deep guilt and fear from our sacral energies, from our moon energies. And we want to connect and relate more of our conscious, external, solar plexus energies of communication. We're going to use, we've got the solar plexus of the heart. So it is the power of the empowerment, the masculine part of the feminine part. So we're going to use 528 because that's the masculine, that's the yellow, the solar plexus. And we often use 528 as an anchor point. So that's what we're going to use that goes through all of it. And we're just going to go to the toilet again, but we are going to get our Mercury out. So it's interesting how Mercury and Venus are both your blues, your throat chakra and your third eye. So we're just going to go to the toilet again. Apologies. So this is really fascinating. Toilet insights. This is the reading. We wanted to do this on the lunar eclipse, but it's about the solar eclipse because we're coming to the surface. We've also been wanting to do the tuning forks again in the bath. There's lots of things we've not been able to get ourselves to do. So we're actually going to pour a pint of our water, which has our lunar, we do the first quarter and the third quarter now. We don't do the new moons and the full moons, but it's got the energies between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. It's from the third quarter. So we've got the third quarter lunar eclipse to solar eclipse energies. We're going to get that out and we're going to tune the water up at the same time, and we're going to choose a water crystal card to put at the bottom of the water to really tune it up, and then we will drink that water to create the internal environmental frequencies of the body, and then we'll bathe in the water. And then not only will we be putting this information out to you guys through the World Wide Web portal of healings, we'll also be doing we don't know really what to call it. It's kind of like microdosing, or when you've got your when you take a small amount of your, what's it, herbology, we can't remember, when you take a small, you know, like belladonna, you've got when you take your homeopathy remedies, it's a very fraction amount of what's going on. Like when you have a snake bite, you put a fraction amount of the venom in, which is the thing that heals you. When you've got a virus and you get injected with a vaccine, it's putting a tiny bit of the virus inside of you. So by us drinking the water and then bathing in the water, creates the internal water bodies, the lunar energetics, the sacral chakras, the orange of our body, to come out to then the external of our body by bathing in the water, going in. And then we'll sweat as well in the bath, so that brings that inside water outside by sweating, your elimination process. We're talking about releasing blockages in the system, and then that water will go down the plug hole into the water systems of the world, out to the universe again. And we've been doing this consciously for almost a decade as well. So we're just going to get our water to tune up for you. Okay, you can watch us pour it. We'll pour it now here because we have it in a bottle in the fridge. And we will... Do you want us to fizz it up now? When we drink carbonated water, it's better, especially if we get older, because it pushes the carbon, pushes the oxygen into your bloodways or something. Dr. Berg does a good video on that. Okay, so we had some already. So thank you cards. We're not going to take one of these yet either. We will take one after. So here we go. We've got some Om wind chimes starting our sound healing. You may wish to join in with some slow, deep inhalations. And sigh. Make some sound on the exhalation. It's even a beautiful yellow colour over here on the light on the cards, yellow to green, on that rainbow we talked about. Feel your parasympathetic nervous system kicking in, just as we have a fub from next door to aid. Might actually get a rubber thing out to That still might all take. I'm not sure if we can. How does it sound? We're going to go for the 639 hertz for double heart relating connections and greens the heart chakra. Thank you. 639 hertz. And then we'll go down after doubly connecting into the hearts to 396 hertz, liberating guilt and fear from the foundational root chakra. Thank you. Bye-bye, guilt. Bye-bye, fear. Thank you for the fear that serves us in the moment. Tito bye. Which one is it next, my lovelies? Mercury. Mercury. Okay. Are you able to tell us why? Oh. We're going into our littles more now. So apology if that was a bit of a loud clunk between the forks. That tends to happen when we're in our littles. Our body becomes much more, what's the word, when you're not agile? Heavy-handed. There was a weight difference between the forks that was hard as well. And there's not been any response on why the Mercury came out next. But the throat chakra came out. Oh, Tito Popo Painana! Oh, yeah, okay. The throat chakra came out next. These are the ones that are in colour. Your upper chakras, your indigo is a darker colour, which I think we're going on to next, is a darker colour of your blue. And it's your blues and your red that make your purple your crown chakra. Thank you, Venus. Your purple, your crown chakra. So we weren't sure what it is next, but it's your sun. So even though we're coming out, we're not ending on the double yellow, which is out, your 528 hertz, and your sun, which 126 hertz 22. We're ending on your orange. And like we said at the start, red and orange, or red and yellow is what makes orange. Tito Popeye! Thank you, my lovelies. And we got two yellows here, so we'll actually be ending on yellow and orange. which, although we aren't able to word in this current moment of why it's significant, we can okay. We're not ending there, we're ending on green and yellow. Double heart, the 528s, miracle and transformations is like a love frequency, and the heart chakra, Zen's really stretching and relaxing now. So that's an awesome sign and reflection of what's happening with the energetics. Thank you so much. We didn't necessarily want to come on and do this, but we weren't resistant. Okay, the conscious ones of us weren't resistant to coming on and doing this. So, cheers. We won't drink all of that. We just had a little bit of a drink now. Thank you, folks. We can always get pretty messy around the full moon with all our tools that come out. You don't need any of these tools, by the way, either. Thank you for giving us a card for the water to sit on. Look at that. That was quick. We'll see what that one is in a minute. And we'll actually do some fold. You have everything you need within you. You don't need any of these tools, but we do like to share them. There's another one. One more for the water, and then we can start the card reading. We'll do a little bit of our sounding to invite in what needs to come in for everyone's highest good. Okay, so the top and the bottom of the pack is winter and the coral reef. Oh, that came up in what we were reading earlier, didn't it? The one that jumped out right at the start is the rainforests, the lungs of Mother Earth, the lungs of us, the communication of trees through the mycelium network. The next one that came out was truth. So humanity as a collective can gain truth and understanding through the heart value-based systems, and gaining comprehension that it might not come through in our coherent words and narratives, because they're surrendering the conscious mind's need to know, to gain a deeper connection to Mother Earth, which doesn't communicate in words. She communicates in frequencies and sounds, the leaves rustling through the frequencies of the air pressures of the wind and the breeze, the leaves rustling through the movements of animals' footprints through the forest. And that's what we are, nature as human beings, and that's what happens to us too. These are both, we'll read them in a moment. That's the earth card, is the rainforest, and a wisdom card for truth. And then we've got autumn, the beautiful, that's the micro fractal flower within center, six petal flower. Face that down. Love for humanity, which starts for love for oneself. So we've got another earth card and another wisdom card. And then giving ourselves gratitude, deeply caring for the Gemini aspect of Mercury in ourselves, what we discussed earlier with the fingers, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the lungs, the nervous system. That's the Gemini part of Mercury. Reflexology, the fingers of the heavenly energies are the communication pathways in our body. Giving thanks to the deepest depths, how we said how our fingers are starting to crinkle even though we're not in a bath, because slack's been created in the deepest depths of our intestines being the Virgo energies, the other aspect of Mercury. So thank you for all those frequencies of Mercury and Venus that we just brought into the equation with the Teslas, 563, liberating guilt and fear, 396, 639 hertz for connecting and relating, so we can connect all these deeper aspects of ourselves. And now we invite you to join in with us. You can have your palms open. You can connect any fingers that feel like you want to connect. We're going to connect these, our baby finger, our ring finger, and our thumb, and we're going to put them together for this mudra. And if you want to see what this mudra is, you can scroll down to a post on our Joy to Coco channel. It's the mudra for self-acceptance. And we're just going to do some sounding through the communication pathways of our throat chakra and humming, buzzing in and out before we do our 12-month, starting with Aries, card reading. So if you want to join in, do whatever you want to with your hands or not. Breath, body, lay, stand, do whatever you want. Blow all your air out. And if you want to sound, sound. If you don't, don't. If you want to close your eyes, close them. If you don't, don't. If we close our eyes, we go deeper into the depths. And then sound. Etzman. Namaste. Etzman. Nema. Amen. Nema. Okay. Thank you. That's a wonderful state of peace and balance. We're going to put these to the bottom of the water now over here. And we'll put these over the top. And these will be passed out through the waterway systems to you after our bath later on. So we are going to do our cards now. We'll just refresh which ones. The Oracle of the Universe will come first. We'll do 12. They're not going to be for the 12 months. They're going to be for the 12 astrological signs. So Aries will be to the end of March, start of April. End of April, start of May will be Taurus. And we're not going to do any more there. Our linear comprehensible mind's gone out. As we said earlier about having the courage to dive to the depths of your own being inside takes you to the outer regions of the galaxy. And so hence why we start with the galaxy card first. And then we shall go into the Queen of the Sun Oracle that we just did the box opening for. because we're bringing ourselves back from the most peripheral of the fingertips in the body. We're bringing ourselves back from the most peripheral of the galaxy, closer into our earthly center, which are these cards here. And then we're bringing ourselves in closer again through Queen of the Moon Oracle. And that will be all of Stacey DeMarco's cards used, and we're going into Yasmin Blonde's energies then of the diary that we read earlier. The first cards of hers being the Moonology cards. Then we will go in to the area of the manifestation for that month, and then the guidance or the message that will help us with the manifestation through intuitive action. And that intuitive action could be the beingness, but we're going into the wisdom of our knowledge of our heart and our body, and we're surrendering our conscious mind's need to know and understand. So are we going to allow these to jump out, my lovelies, or are we just going to shuffle and place them down, or is it just see what happens? Okay, so we're going to leave it like that now. This is the Aries, the first one coming out, and we get to see it's number 16. Tito Popaini, no more. And already it's just, oh my God, and then it even gets more magical. So, oh God, Tito Popaini, no more. So it's number 16. We'll attempt to stay composed and balanced. I'm really glad we got ourselves balanced to start with. 16 is the number of the Tower card in the tarot, which is about deconstruction, and one needs to deconstruct to construct the healthy optimum pathway patterning in the connective tissue, in the fascia, in the body, in the electromagnetic energies around you, the neurons in the heart electromagnetic frequency, which now has the capacity to expand to its fullest and infect everyone else with its heart, compassionate kindness, grateful communication. And others won't be comfortable with that sometimes, and they may keep themselves small and pull away, but their field will have been impacted, and if and when they are ready to open those connections and doorways, they'll have this beautiful energy to receive. No words necessary, no nothing necessary apart from you being your deepest, truest self. And Zen is going really deep now, Zendaya, our cat. So we're really deep into parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest vagus nerve, of relaxation, of receptivity. 16 is also the number of rebirth. Going back to Mars though, Mars is the ruler of Aries. This is the 9-degree Aries super new moon solar, partial solar eclipse. And so there's our Mars and Aries connections. And if you did want a bit of conscious comprehension of understanding that, where is Mars in your chart? As we said, for us, our Aries is house 8. Our Mars is house 1. Is there anything else going on with your Mars? We have Jupiter and part fortune with our Mars, and they're pretty close within a 5-6 degree orb of our Leo Virgo cusp rising and north node. 16, as we said, the opposite is going on in the seen and the unseen. So in the unseen, we've got the number 61, and 61 is the number of self-love. So it's that self-love, kindness and compassion again. We also love this because it had the polar bear, and for us the polar bear can symbolize the fine line between mysticism and insanity. And when we in the Western world don't have the understanding or the guides that one in the spiritual world has with shamans or other guides and gurus and teachers and mentors and mentees in these energetics, sometimes we can get a bit lost, and there can be consequences that feel from a Western world perspective like insanity and like we're losing our mind, but really we're actually finding our mind and we're finding our autonomy. And so that's a beautiful starting point. So that is the card for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and we're going to go in the spiral movement because that's how the energies work. Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. And we've also just realised that this is the start. So if we're going to do the start, we need the ending first. So we're just going to switch. And one of us, our body actually was starting to do that with the cards earlier. We're just going to turn the cards around so that every other card that comes on top of this will be in the right order then for when we read it. We won't do reversals unless it naturally comes reversed. We're planning not to do reversals. And so we're now putting down the cards of the messages, which will be the last card we read. So what we'll do is we'll take this one out from the bottom when we go through. Are we going to get a card naturally at the start? And then what we'll also do, no, we're not, so we'll end there, is we use the spectrum of energies. So as soon as we've started with this already, the spectrum of energies for the collective energies of this astrological year, the conscious, the aware, the seen, the known spectrum of energies that we're dancing within is Taurus energies, sisterhood. That's a number 2, the balance of the masculine and the feminine. The Taurus is the throat chakra. It's about that expression, that deep, authentic, autonomous expression, embracing the courage to be happy because one has embraced the courage to be disliked, understanding they will trigger people by sharing their own ways, but that's more of a reflection of the others. And the sisterhood can be the sisterhood within or the sisterhood without. We're not really focusing on the without energies and tribes because it's about not needing a tribe, but one will find their tribe of the external when they have their own energies. And the unconscious, the unseen energetics that we're dancing within is 24. And it's Aquila, power. And that's the eagle again, and it's the energies. I think we just had blue electric eagle the other day, but can't quite remember. It's the power of the empowerment. We talked about that earlier as well. So we will do the spectrum of energies that we're dancing between with each pack of cards as well. Because that's the overall collective energies, and these individuals is the part. So it's this within this for April. It will be, let's say, Taurus, this one within these energies. So it's within the power and the sisterhood, the individual deep power in the depths within that then embrace, that lead us to this sisterhood without. So that's the consciously aware, seeing the sisterhood without. And we'll change these in a minute. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. We'll we won't because we know sometimes we don't. We may edit this out afterwards so that we just do the reading on its own, or maybe we do that at a later date, who knows. So we're taking the top, the conscious spectrum of energies away. And what's also coming to us now is that we'll do, or we may not be the case, it may be the case that each month we bring these cards out again. We'll do a brief reading with them now, and then each month we'll bring the cards out again to have a refresher of the energies. Oh, we've just turned these over. We have to show you. It's the Taurus. Look at that. Taurus just came out a minute, and we've got the Taurus moon, full moon on the bottom, and the Taurus new moon on the top. For the conscious spectrum of energies we're dancing within on that one. It's just like, this is going to be such an awesome reading. We've got, come on. We're going to say, pull ourselves together, pull the threads in, centre ourselves. The excitement is buzzing. This is the year. So that's the Aries. Oh look, that was the harvest moon, the Taurus energies. That's come out again. So that's the Aries. We'll take the top card off for the spectrum of energies. And it's so funny that that's the card that we were talking about earlier and used as an example. And that's the card that came out. So, I mean, you can read that from multiple perspectives. It could be the perspective that that's the energy that's been called in and we picked it up right from the start. And it's not that one's way's right or one way's wrong. Remember, right is wrong. They're the same when you get either end of the linear polarity and bring it into the circle. They become one and the same thing. So it's not this or that, it's this and that. So it could be that those energies were there that we were attracted to and we picked up on right from the start with our own channeling, unintentional, or that that we manifested in and attracted those energies because we brought it up as an example before. Okay, so the last card, there's the top spectrum of energies we're dancing within, just to get them the right way round. And then if they're not the right way round, we will read the inversion, unless they're all inverted, but I don't think they will be, because we've intended for them not to be inverted. So that's the conscious. So we'll do the spectrum of energies at the end. These are 12 cards. Let's just get the oh, Tito Popeye. Okay, we've got one more little one here as well, which we'll do at the as we're going through them. We won't do it now, which are the little moonology cards. We've just got our cards here. I think that's Leo. So these say the moon to feel liberated. Leo's ruled by the heart. Leo's ruled by the sun. It's a fixed energy and it governs the heart, the aorta, the blood circulation, blood pressure, and the upper back. So we're just going to put these on so that we know that's Aries, Scorpio. Can't remember exactly where these were, but we will as we go through. Virgo, Leo, Virgo. Yeah, that's right. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Pisces, Aquarius. So as you notice, we're doing the spiral snake so that our energetic patterning aligns. We've just received our post communication in the middle of putting in these extra details. Capricorn, Sagittarius, Libra, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. So we've got all of those accurate. Shall we now start our reading? So we want to clear up the energies, so we'll go through each of these. That's the first card we're doing. We'll bring that to the top. If you're just starting, we don't need to explain why we're doing all that. And then we can bring these out individually as we do the reading for that month, and then we can spread all the cards